in? Or?
I mean, for me, I've always been of the philosophy, and again, this is, I'm an assistant, so those impact players will be based on what the coach wants. But I've always been of the opinion, every freshman I've ever recruited, I recruit them to come in and play as freshmen. Now, if they're not ready or not prepared or good enough to play as freshmen, then you go to the next step, which is the redshirt season. So it'd be my expectation with some of the depth issues we have in our program, especially on the offensive side of the ball, that a lot of these guys will have some opportunities to come in and compete for playing time as freshmen.
And just looking at the different units, do you see any particular position of strength? You have a lot of young receivers with talent, tight end or whatever. Do you feel there are certain areas of offensive strength that you inherit?
So again, without having a chance to evaluate, watching on tape, again, not reaching out to the assistants to kind of tell me who they think are good players. I really don't know, and I won't know probably until the end of spring when we had a chance to call plays in the system that we're implementing and evaluate them based on the things we ask them to do.
And just your general knowledge of Danny and CJ, what is that?
Well, they're both very high football IQ. The short time I've spent with both the guys, when we start throwing chalk, talking ball, they both have football IQs in that they can picture, and I usually use this as an example, when you talk football and you can picture or conceptualize what we're saying without writing it down, then usually they have a pretty good understanding. And from the short time that I've spent with both those guys, they're both high football IQ guys. They're both ball guys. I mean, they're always around. I mean, every time I turn around, one of them's up in the office and asking questions. So, you want that out of the quarterback, because one of the things we sell and talk about playing the quarterback position is living the quarterback lifestyle, which means you've got to be that guy 24/7. You can't just be that guy the 4 hours that we have meetings and practice. So both those guys have been really pleased with that part of their quarterback acumen.
Last year there was a dual quarterback system for much of the year. Do you think in your offense that could work out? So it made sense if that wasn't.
Well, I prefer not to. Obviously, we like to have one guy. But if you look at my history, if the quarterback's not playing well and not getting the job done, at some point they need to be evaluated just like any other position. And I had a guy, Juice Williams, who was very successful. When he was struggling, I didn't hesitate to put in an Eddie McGee to come in and play some to give him a chance to get himself back on track. So, in the perfect world, you want a guy to be your guy, 24 every game, every play. But we're going to develop them both to be able to be ready to play. And if the guy's not getting the job done, as a head coach, honestly, it's Randy's call with my input probably. I wouldn't hesitate to put a guy in that's not, to replace a guy that's not being productive.
What excites you about a guy like Stephon Diggs, and how confident are you in?
Can't comment on a guy that hasn't signed a national letter.
Anybody else?